I'm not concerned with nerfs or buffs. What is something that is broken that needs to be fixed? I'll go first. Attack hitboxes should match the visual, Zoranthrope, and Carnifex. So that's interesting. Yeah, I see people are still frustrated with Zoranthropes, and I gotta say, I was doing some operations, and sometimes I feel this way. But then other times I notice that I'm getting hit because I'm rolling a little bit too late or early. And with that said, you only get a short, fleeting amount of iframes for rolls. Like, if you're, like, the finishing part of your roll, you can get hit, basically. So, I don't know. Maybe it's a little bit of that, or, you know, maybe a little bit of unwarranted splash damage from Zoranthrope's beams that maybe shouldn't have them, something like that. What is something that is frustrating because it is not working as expected? So I'm really interested to see what the community is going to say on this. Because yeah, this is basically, this is not about nerfs or buffs. This is about what is in the game right now that we think needs to be fixed. I'm with that. Server connection. Okay, I'm going to say right now that I have not had any, like, at least disconnects or heavy server problems, you know? However, I did notice, like, ping being really weird. So maybe that's, you know, something. Maybe that's something about the situation. Server connection overall, though, feels pretty good for me. But, you know, I can't speak for everybody. Everyone plays at different areas and stuff. So, and I'm not even sure where the servers for Space Marine 2 is. But, yeah, sometimes ping is just, like, unreasonably high for, like, no reason. Dodging an attack visually should always count as actually dodging the attack. Wow, okay, so I've seen this more than the class matchmaking issues. This is seemingly a problem. Yeah, if I haven't said this already, definitely let me know in the comments how you feel about certain enemies' hitboxes. Because apparently, is dodging just not working or something? Is there something up with dodging? I don't know. We'll keep an eye out. The Bulwark perk that reflects range damage taken to the shield. When it works, it's awesome, but it seems to work less than 50% of the time. Huh. That's a pretty cool perk. So I guess what they're saying is it should work 100% of the time. I don't have enough experience with this. Yeah, apparently it's supposed to reflect sniper shots 100% of the time. Interesting. Yeah, I wish we had some, you know, like, some examples of, you know, certain projectiles that we aren't reflecting, but maybe, yeah, I don't know. Let me know in the comments if you struggle with the reflect perk on the Bulwark. There's no way the missile terminators are working as intended. The swarm of missiles have so many small individual hitboxes that using the iframes from dodging to avoid them is dubious at best. And there's very little visual indicator of when they'll hit because of the flight path they take. So I think we can combine this with the OP's point, the original poster's point about hitboxes not really telling the full story. Maybe, you know, hitboxes are a little bit too lenient for the enemies, something like that. I'm with that. Some of that could be connection, but since we have another example here and a different enemy of hitboxes kind of being a little wonky, then I think, yeah, possibly these enemies need either. See, here's the thing: if an enemy's bugged and they don't know how to fix the bug, then the enemy unfortunately should be nerfed. It's the only way you can really deal with the situation. As far as broken enemies, you know what I mean? I'm not saying no nerfs or buffs, but I'm saying if an enemy is strictly broken and is not working as intended, unfortunately, you should nerf that enemy just so players aren't being, you know, players aren't getting too frustrated dealing with broken hitboxes. That's interesting. Missile terminators. Keep an eye out for them. Issues of heraldry? Heraldry? What? Fashion Astartes is important to me. Seriously, look at this. Ultima glyphs on what ought to be chapter agnostic armor pieces. Okay, yeah, I see he has the little U's. Man, I don't know the lore that well. That is crazy, though, that people have that attention to detail to just like particular cosmetics. Very impressive. Yeah, I mean, why not, right? Why not fix them? This should be one of the easiest fixes, just little lore details, you know, that you just need to, you know, correct. Good call for this guy, though. Either able to play the same class, either class-specific grouping. Okay, so this guy's trying to say he wants to either have two of the same classes on the same team or class-specific grouping, and I 100% agree. If I want to play tactical, I should either be grouped up with players that do not take that class or be allowed to have another tactical on the team. Not that I have to restart game 5 times because every time I wait, my 3 minutes of loading said this guy's first language is not English. I land on that class is unavailable. Please select another class. Yeah. Well, my other classes are level 1 and so no, that's the biggest issue about the classes not being able to stack up or the class matchmaking not being very good or existent. Exactly. You've only played tactical. Your tactical's level 10. You're signing up to Ruthless or something, and now tacticals is picked, and the only other class you have is level 1. So now you have to leave, and then you continue this process. You know, I'm with you. That's definitely something we talked about before, but it's always nice to see other people still, you know, looking for those changes because those are good changes. We need those. The dang fire ring needs more time for us to either react or smaller ring. I don't think I've ever dodged out of it properly. Okay, yeah. Yeah. I agree. It can come out of nowhere. That's, at least if, you know, I think I know what they're talking about. Mechanics requiring a ping lower than is reasonable for a game with semi-local hosting. Europeans, Americans playing on the same mission will experience issues with core game mechanics like parry and dodge. Okay, so here it is. We found it. Yeah, so that's what I thought. There's definitely some ping issues with certain attacks and dodges and like basically responses. And like, that's interesting. Let's keep reading. Parry. If the host is in the US, I'm UK, I'll often parry correctly, get the animation, knockback, gun strike, apply, allspec on parry, etc., but still take the damage. Possibly stagger. You know, I never noticed that. So far, again, my operations have been pretty clean. There's definitely certain times where I misdodge and have been damaged, but there's definitely times where I noticed that like splash damage kind of hit me in places that it probably shouldn't. Like it kind of like counted where I was rather than where I am. But this is interesting. This guy's saying that he would do parries and still get damage. And possibly staggered. And not get the armor regen, noticeable at ping 120. Okay, interesting. You know what? In operations, I never noticed my ping too crazy. My ping gets crazy in PvP for whatever reason. Dodge. The dodge window is too short for the hitbox and stagger unblockable attacks have. Okay. I mean, yeah, that's interesting. They did adjust dodges, so dodges are definitely under the radar right now, and I feel like it's something that we need to keep an eye on for sure. Particularly the Sword Warriors, Inferno, Bolt, Chaos Marines. With the Warriors, you often can't dodge due to the other mob's placement, and have so little time to with the insane hitbox that you get clipped and take the full effects. With the Chaos Marines, you need 2 dodge rolls, plus clear the area, and don't really have the time to execute this, especially if you need to animation cancel. Well, at least you know, yeah, clear all the little mobs, don't go after the big guys, but, yeah... I agree. Some of those hitboxes are definitely an issue. Noticeable at ping 80. Oh, I love how dude, the fact that this guy really pinpoint what pings are like specifically the problem. he's keeping track of it. For clarity, I'm not complaining about a tight window for a gun strike granting perfect dodge. That's fine, but the unblockable attacks are so punishing if you even slightly get clipped that it seems poorly thought through. Yeah, sometimes. The only issue with the unblockable attacks for me is when they just, like, you get into a rhythm and then they just come out of nowhere. But yeah, if you get hit by one of those, it's like game over, practically. And then, yeah, like, let's say there's enemies behind you and there's an unblockable dodge in front of you. You can't dodge to the side or anything because there's enemy windows that are keeping you in place. Yeah, I don't know. That definitely seems to be something that's a little janky that can probably be adjusted to feel a little bit more smooth, but at the same time, just don't get surrounded. A lot of the game's implementation feels like the devs are definitely gamers and 40k fans, but don't actually play their own game. Or maybe if they do, they play it at like a low level, you know? Also, the fact that the parry and dodge sound indicators are basically the same. Yeah, no, okay, no, this is the biggest one. I noticed this, actually the last operation I was doing because of what I was just describing, where it's like you get into a flow and you're doing the counters and like the dodges and everything, but it's like if you go off of the sound indicators, most of the times you're going for parries, and if you get hit with an unblockable attack that has the same sound indicator as a counter, it's so frustrating. I agree with this. But you get punished for dodging a parable by it being followed up by a jumping unblockable combo. Is just really poor implementation, as it means you can't even reliably just make dodging your default reaction. Yeah. Yeah, I agree. But I'd say, look, I don't want the game to be too easy, and that sort of loop is like the one type of skill loop we have, was like the dodging and the parries and stuff, gun strikes, all of that. Like as long as you're able to loop those together, you can get a good system going. But yeah, I see what you're saying, where the indicators can basically just, you know, it's unreliable to go off of instincts, and you really have to pay attention. I'm with that. They should definitely have some different sound indicators. Or like some sort of, I don't know. You should, yeah, you should still get punished for messing up. You know what I mean? But at the same time, I'm with the sound indicators being a little bit confusing. The amount of times I've been surrounded by warriors requiring parrying at intervals such that I can't get an attack off, and I just have to tank the unblockables as they're physically blocking my dodge. Plus, I also need to parry something else, just feels like a poorly tested outcome. Lore accurate perhaps, but not great for the game. I used to think it was a get good issue, but the amount of vids I've watched of brothers executing near perfect play and having the same problem suggests otherwise. I mean, yeah, look, again, we should be punished for mistakes, but if you need near perfect play, yeah, something should be adjusted probably. TLDR, there's a technical issue with the client-side server side split on parrying for high ping, which is unavoidable with the hosting setup this game has, and dodging is just poorly implemented across the board. I agree. I think dodges definitely need another look, for sure. Dodges feel very unreliable for the most part.